So let's do our 30 seconds so we can get this started. And here we go. Let me take my glasses off today. I'm seeing a little better with my eyes, so it seems. Okay. All right. We are ready to go. So, Mo and I been around. I mean, been friends for a while, man. Before she even had her child, now her child is a kind of almost a. Is he a teen yet?
He's 13.
Okay, so he's a teen now. Oh my God! Remember Franklin? I mean, his son was a little. I'm not going to use his name, but when he was little, and man, so many so many things have transpired since then. And so Mo was on it before and talked a little bit about colonics, and people were very, very excited about it and wanted to know. People were sending me, questions and what have you. So I said, let me bring Mo back on to really talk about what she does and colonics and how they're beneficial for you. I used to go and get them all the time. And so she's going to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about colonics. So get your pen and your notebook out so you can take notes, and definitely going to have Mo's information so you can reach out to her as well. So Mo, introduce yourself and tell us about who you are and what you do.
I appreciate you, Queen. I appreciate you. And just a FYI, I'm still 22, just to let you know that, and your audience know, my son may be 13, but I am still 22 for like the 10th time in a row here. Let's just clarify that first. My name is Mo, and I am the I don't know if I want to call myself the owner, because I feel like my business has taken on its own legs and is walking and thriving and doing its own thing. But I own Moya Body Care. It originally started off as a way for me to care for my skin. And I don't share this part of me often, but unfortunately, my father was exposed to Agent Orange when he was in Vietnam. And this was before I came along. So when him and my mother got together and created me, the whatever chemical that was Agent Orange shifted through my father to me, and my skin is extremely sensitive to like chemicals. I can't use a lot of different things on my skin and my hair. Stress is a no-go for me. Anytime I get extremely stressed out, my body starts to pop out in hives, eczema, psoriasis. It's really bad when I don't take care of it. So that was the basis of my business way back then, well past 13 years ago. It started off with body care products and massage therapy in a way to just calm the system down. And it blossomed into what it is now, which is more of an internal cleanse. I'm a colon therapist. And so I added colon therapy to my business about 14 years ago now, 13 years professionally. And in those 13 years, I've also added Yoni Steaming and iridology reading. So through all of this understanding my body and why my body responds to stress, I just started adding tools that helped me get over the hump, along with herbs and nutrition. And then my clients were like, well, what are you doing? Because I needed to. So I just started offering it, not so much on my menu of services, but just as they came in, and it just stuck. And this is where we are now. 2 years ago, I was so appreciative to be able to purchase 10 acres of land to create a wellness retreat for women of color and healers, because we need somewhere to go to heal.
Yes.
And I think it's very unique because we own the land. You know, I own the
Mhm.
land. So it's not something that we're going to rent out and then, you know, you have somebody saying you got to leave now, but like we can stay for months on if we want to do the healing work. And then, you know, my sister
Mhm.
friends can rent the space out, and it's just awesome. It's just awesome. So the
I'm
business
so
is
excited.
blossoming and it's just good. Yeah.
Right, right. Oh my God. Oh, hey Donna, how you doing? I see you. Donna's checked in. Thank you, Donna. So Mo, tell us about your journey. Like, how does one decide to go into hydrocolon
Yeah.
therapy?
So there were, for me, for my path, there were a lot of deciding factors. At the time when I had my quote unquote awakening, and I'll explain what happened, I was actually pregnant and didn't know it. So I was with my son's father. It was not a good relationship by any means necessary. And I was working with the city of LA at that time. And I knew that I wanted to homeschool my son. I knew out the gate that I was going to be a single mother. I knew that out the gate. And I knew that I needed more freedom to care for my son versus working with the city and asking permission to take off to go get my son or whatever it may be.
Right.
So I've always had this entrepreneur mindset. Prior to me doing that, again, I was already a massage therapist, had a really nice following. Yeah, I was making a lot of money massaging. And
Okay.
I said, you know, once I have my baby, I'll just continue to do this full time. And so before I knew I was pregnant, I was still receiving colonics from my colonic therapist, who at that time was living in LA, or her office was in LA. So a morning where I had an appointment to go see her, my son's father, and I got into a serious argument. I mean, I've never experienced anything like that in my life ever. And I remember I was on my cell phone. I drove a truck at that time, and I had just finished arguing with him, and I threw the phone on the floor of the truck. And I was in LA, and I was going over this on ramp. And you know, on ramps in LA are kind of
Yeah.
high, right?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm driving a truck, and for a split second, I didn't curve or I didn't turn my wheel. I kept straight. So for a
Oh,
split second, I was like, you know what? Fuck it all. Like, I'm just going to end it. Now, this was before I knew I was pregnant.
right.
So cars behind me are honking. The car on the side of me is honking. That's the only thing that snapped me out of it. Now, if I was on that freeway by myself, I would have did it. It would have
Mm.
happened. So by the grace of God, you know, he had or she had or whoever you want to subscribe to covered me with cars to move me back the way I should be merging, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I get to my appointment, she can clearly tell I was distraught. Like I
Right.
was out of wits. I was sweating. It was horrible. And so she's like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No." She said, "Do you want to go ahead and move forward?" I said, "I need to be here." So I went ahead and went to the room, got undressed, got on the table. She came in and rolled me over onto my left side to insert the speculum. And when she did that, I mean, I had a breakdown. Like everything that I wanted to say and needed to say, the frustration, the agony, the embarrassment, how did I get here? It just all came out and I couldn't control it. And so I'm like doing one of those ugly cries, those type of cries where it's boogers and snot coming
Right.
out everywhere,
Right.
right? The
Right.
pillow was all wet, my gown was all wet, and it felt like I was crying for an hour, but it was only probably 3 minutes. And the therapist never said anything. And so I'm on my side and I'm crying. She hasn't even started the session yet. She just literally just inserted the speculum.
Wow.
And I'm gonna come back to that to explain how powerful our bodies are in response to pressure and things like that when we're built to the rim with emotions and shit. I'm gonna come back to that. Um, so there was a mirror, not a mirror, it was a picture of like dolphins or something. And it was a candle glowing underneath the picture, and I can clearly see her reflection. So she's a tall woman. She looks like me. Her locks were all the way down, you know, underneath or past her butt, and she just held that space. She just held me in light and allowed me to do whatever I needed to do. So in that moment, I got it. I was like, oh my God, like I want to do what you do. I want to help women live leave fucked up relationships and like get their stuff together and be empowered and be self-employed. Like all this stuff started downloading and I didn't know where it was coming from. And so the practitioner was like, are you okay? Like just a few minutes ago, you were broke down and in a second, you're empowered. And I said, I don't know what this is, but tell me how you got to this point. I need to know what I need to do what you do for other women. That's all I knew I wanted to do. And so when I got dressed and everything, I had my session. It was probably the best colonic I've ever had in my entire life because I was the clearest I've ever been outside of giving birth to my son. It was the clearest, right? I get in my car and I'm just searching frantically for information on a training coming up. Now, remember, I'm pregnant. I didn't know I was pregnant.
Right.
So I called this company or school in Vegas, and they had a class coming up in like a couple of months. I don't remember, but I remember when I went to the training, I was 7 months pregnant. So I had to have been 2 months pregnant and didn't know it.
Right.
So she told me, you know, everything. She was really nice, very friendly, very caring. And she told me the cost. And I was like, ooh, you know, I didn't have that money on me. Yeah. I had one credit card and I knew that credit card was maxed out. And I took the credit card out and I just sat there. She's still talking. I just set the phone down. And I was like, look, Lord, like, I don't really ask you for much at all. I don't remember how many things I've asked you, probably 5 things I count on one hand. I need this. I need this. If this is what I'm supposed to do, let me go to this training and pay for it in full in cash or whatever you want me to do, or somebody donate or whatever. I gave her that credit card number. Now keep in mind that credit card had been maxed out 4 months ago.
Right.
I had nothing on that credit card. She runs the credit card for the deposit, which was like, I think $800 at that time, and it went through. I hung up that phone so fast. Right. I was like, cool. It went through. No worries. I'm going. And everything else is history. I've been doing this ever since.
That's great. That's why sometimes spirit just really leads you into where you need to go and do. And so they supported you in doing that. Wow. Yeah. So tell us when you went through the training and how long was the training?
So your first colon hydrotherapy training is 100 hours and it takes, and everybody does it differently, but this training was a solid 6 days, 6.5 days roughly.
So we were in Vegas?
I was in Vegas and it was like in the outskirts of Vegas. Not so much on the strip, but like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a beautiful school. I think they are still there, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. We started school at 7:30 a.m. and we didn't finish until 8 p.m. So we're working and studying. Ooh, so this was a pretty big school. I want to say 3, 4, 5, 6.
Wow. So it's not probably that many. Like you can count them on the hand. Yeah. It wasn't that many.
Probably like 10 or 11 people there. And I was the only person of color and I was the only person pregnant. So everybody was feeding me. Everybody was looking out for me. Everybody was bringing me juice and water. It was really awesome. Wow. It was a perfect experience.
Okay. So now you finished your program. Do you have to be licensed to do what you do?
So colon hydrotherapy is not a licensed field. It is a certifiable field. However, each state has its own requirements and each city has its own requirements. Most of the time, the requirements are the same as a massage therapist, most of the time. But for the state of California, it's not a licensed practice. It's a certifiable practice.
Somebody just asked about your retreats, but you're not ready to start the retreats yet. So anybody's
not yet.
Are you going to do a wait list or a mailing list so you can send people, information?
I will
Okay.
definitely send you the link for my mailing list, or your followers and my followers can go to moyabodycare.com, and there's going to be a little box that pops up to add your email, and you'll be on my email list.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right, so you get your certification from the school, and then did you decide to just go out on your own, or did you work for someone when you first started?
Right. So keep in mind, I still had all of my clients from my massage business. So I have people
Okay.
to market it to. And then at that time, when I went to my training, I was still working with the city. I hadn't walked away from them just yet. So I did
Smart.
intern. I did intern for a little bit with a practitioner here in LA. I think I was there for less than a year just to make sure that I understood the ins and outs, because again, I was already in business, but this is something completely different where I'm actually moving inside of somebody versus staying on the outside.
Right.
Once I realized that I felt comfortable working with clients and inserting speculums and moving clients through a detox programs, I was like, cool, I appreciate you. She was, grateful because I helped her out a lot. And it was a win-win situation. Once I felt comfortable, I had already had my son, so I had to take a little break from working. And once I felt comfortable with being a mom and breastfeeding and everything and was ready for me to go back into the field, I think it was a year later. So I took a year off of work to take care of my son. I
Right.
went back to the city for about less than 4 months, and I turned in my resignation. I
Okay.
cashed out my 401k and I poured everything into my business. I bought a used unit. I bought my supplies and took off running from there and haven't looked back since.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, because I know I was all in there. I was like, okay, mom, we ready to do this? Okay, all right. So I enjoyed it. I love when all my friends go to school because they always have to have so many hours. I'm always signing up to do whatever it is that they're doing.
Yes.
So it's
You
always,
went with me to Palm Springs for
yes,
a
yes,
yoga training, right? Remember
right,
that. I remember that.
right,
Yep.
right. Took care of the baby and stuff. Yeah, we all hung out. Whole family hung out there. It was a lot of fun with Franklin, right,
Yes.
right with the baby. So it was fun. It was fun. So
Yep.
Mo not only has done, she has a lot of streams of income. So she's done massage, she's done the hydro colon therapy. You also esthetician. So she has a lot of streams of income, but they all relate. And so I think that's
Yep.
important to um to um to talk about how that all relates, and you're able to do all those
Oh
to
yeah.
help your clients depending on what they're what they're doing. Somebody just says, what should I do? Oh, if my urine smells as a female. So you can talk about herbs and stuff like that. So we're going to go more. Now we're going to get ready to talk. I wanted to give everybody a basis of how she got started, because some people are interested in doing different things, but they don't know like how
How
one
they
gets
merge it
started.
together.
So, but you
Yeah, yeah.
leave your job. So I think it was really smart that you stayed on your job and you kind of did a transition. So you have money coming
Hmm.
in, and then once it took off, then you were able to do that. But you also had these other skills you were able to fall back on it, and you can still do it at any time.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. It's important to make sure that if you are in a job, that whatever you're transitioning to, that you love to do it. Like I can do
mhm,
massage all day long, all year long, and never get tired of it. I really love massage. I love anatomy. I love the human body. I love the lymphatic system, the circulatory
right,
system. Like that's my thing. Like I can be in that all day. And that's what
right,
paid my bills for a very long time. For a long time, all I
mhm,
had income wise was my massage business. I
right,
lived off my massage business for, I want to say, almost 10 years. And I was just solely doing massage. I mean, it
mhm,
was amazing. And even now, if I really wanted to, make money for a trip, I'll just put an ad out, or send information out to my clients. Hey, I'm massaging
right,
this weekend, and they'll book it.
right, right,
Massage has always been for me a
mhm,
perfect way to keep my bills paid and to keep my credit up and to keep my
right,
car note. I don't
mhm,
have to depend on anybody. I can do it myself. And it was just
yeah,
amazing. I'm like, well, if I can do it with this, I can do it with this. And that's what I
right.
did. And it's just amazing. I would never go back to work for anybody else ever, ever, ever,
Right.
ever. I am completely unemployable. Let me just put that out there.
You also have the skills, so that's
Yeah.
important. You do have the skills. So Mo, you can you also see the chats that are coming through? So people
I
asking different things.
see it.
So I know, so we're gonna move into like the colonic and the Yoni Steam, and so you can talk about some of these questions that are coming in.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about colonics. Why should one have a colonic? And the person that just asked about the discharge, we're going to talk about the Yoni Steam, and then she's going to talk about that as well. And how, and do you also use eggs? You do the egg as well? I have a jade egg. I don't know if you do the egg.
And you know what, the Yoni Steam egg, or not Yoni Steam eggs, but Yoni eggs and Yoni pearls, that could be a whole like another conversation on its own because it's so much information. But really quick for me personally, I've worked with a lot of women that have so much disconnection between their uterus and themselves.
Yep.
I would not recommend that they use a Yoni egg internally. They can use it externally and it'll create almost the same effect. But if you have fibroid, cysts, and tumors, discharge, smell, you know, you're using an IUD, things like that, you should not be using a Yoni egg internally because there's no space for it.
Right. See, I don't have any of that. Never have. Yeah. Part of it was I think I never ate cheese, so I never had fibroids or anything, or I didn't even have when I had my cycle, I never had cramps, so I never had any of that. So for me, it was pretty easy. So I've never had any with that. But I know different people have different things.
Oh yeah, the majority of the population when it comes to women, and then when you break it even down even more, women of color, 4 out of 5 women have some type of disagreement with their uterus. It's really scary, actually. I meet a lot of women every day that have some type of issue. And I'm like, why is this? It should be the opposite way. But you're looking at our food, you're looking at the partners that we're entertaining, you're looking at self-medicating, now you're looking at depression, PTSD, anxiety. It just goes on and on and on. But the Yoni pearls, I have a very different outlook on that because most of the Yoni pearls are manufactured in China. There are no regulations on herbs or anything that you put in your mouth or in your body or on your body from China. So when it comes over here, it doesn't go through an inspection. The FDA doesn't approve it. So you don't know what you are putting in your most precious space, which is your uterus or your vaginal canal.
Right.
I'm not putting anything like that. And again, with our yoni, with our womb space, you don't need to insert anything. You can sit in a bath, you can yoni steam, you can lay your hands on top of your womb space. There's so many things that you can do without necessarily pushing things up in there.
Right.
It's not that you can push things up in there. It needs to come out.
Right. So explain to women, because women do the colonics, but since they're coming up about the vaginal system, what is a Yoni Steam?
So Yoni Steam is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful self-care practice that has stood the test of time from all different cultures. A lot of women say that, oh, no, it comes from this culture. No, it comes from that culture. To be honest, almost all the cultures that I have studied, they have some form of Yoni steaming. So I don't want to say it originated here because we really don't know where it originated from. But the most important thing is that it was available for women to care for themselves. That's the most important thing, right? So Yoni steaming is a beautiful way of having a woman sit over herbs that are steaming to cleanse and purify and rebalance the pH system within the womb space, within the uterus, within the vaginal canal.
Okay. So if I were to come to you and I wanted to do a Yoni Steam, what is the procedure or what does it look like?
So when I have women come to me or invite me in to talk to them about Yoni steaming, I send them 2 videos. One video is a small commercial that we did about Yoni steaming, introducing you into what Yoni steaming is. And then the second video is literally a documentary that I am a part of that explains Yoni steaming in great detail, along with case studies and all that good stuff. Once they are comfortable with watching those videos and they want to move forward, then we go ahead and book the appointment. They come in to see me. We start with a small evaluation where I ask you everything about your health history. How did you get to this point? Did you have any abortions, miscarriages, single pregnancies, multiple pregnancies, triplets, things like that?
Mm-hmm.
Are you using birth control? If so, how long? Do you like it? Do you have any side effects? Tell me about your menstrual cycle. Give me the last 4 months of your menstrual cycle if you tracked it. So all these things will tell me what I should be doing with this woman while she's in my care. And then a lot of it stems from, well, you know what, I really don't know, because the woman is not paying attention. So now we have a whole nother light that we just shined on something that she wasn't even aware of. Like, you need to pay attention to your menstrual cycle, because your menstrual cycle gives you your lifeline of what's going on with you. If you're not paying attention, then how do you know how healthy you are? Right. So once we go over all that and I answer all of her questions and move the fears out of the room, we have her undress. She puts on a Yoni Steam gown. She lays on my massage table.
What does a Yoni Steam gown look like?
A Yoni Steam gown, it looks like a muumuu, actually. Okay. Kind of like this.
Okay.
It's kind of like this, but it goes all the way down to the floor. So when you sit down on the Yoni Steam, it completely covers the whole steam to keep it in. But your neck, your shoulders, your arms are out. And so I get her on the table and I start with the abdominal massage. And I massage the abdominal area with a belly rub oil that one of my mentors makes for me. It breaks up adhesions, congestion, blockages, gas, bloating. It just breaks all that up. I mix that with a little bit of castor oil and I massage her whole abdominal area. And then I start to feel her uterus on top of her belly area, not inside, but on top. Yeah. And a lot of times I can feel fibroid cysts and tumors. I've moved air out of the body. And some people are a little like, oh my God, excuse me, I just passed gas. Don't worry about it.
I have vaginal gas too. Vaginal gas. Oh my God.
Exactly.
As you get older, I'm just like, what is that? Wait, what?
That happens a lot in here.
Yeah. Nobody tells you about that. You know, when you get older, you're like, what the? Wait, what?
Yep. I've been able to loosen up the muscles and the tendons within our bowl of our hips. You know, things kind of open up and soften, so the legs kind of fall out even more. There's a couple of things I've been able to do with the abdominal massage. And then once we do the abdominal massage, I walk her over to the Yoni Steam room, which is right across the way. And the client is able to pick out 2 crystals that she would like to steam with. She holds on to them. I allow her to pick those out. And then I also allow her to pick the Yoni Steam herbs. I have 2 different herbs that she can pick. They're blends. One blend is for cleansing and one blend is for detoxing. I have them in wooden bowls so she can pick them up. She can smell them. She can feel them, put them over her heart space, see whatever herb resonates with her. Then when she's ready, she pours the herbs into the water that's already steaming and hot. And then she goes ahead and sit down. I sage her down a little bit, ask her if she needs any water or would she like any tea. If she's good to go, I let her steam for about 15 minutes before I check in on her.
Oh, okay, that sounds good. And you know, at one time I used to do teach women how to do vaginal exams, and it's so interesting that so many women have never even seen their uterus, or you know, and they never seen their
clitoris.
No, any of that, you know.
Right.
And so when you do that, you can even, when you pull the speculum out, you can smell and you can tell if something is going on immediately, whatever. And so many women don't know how to do that at all. And so I think it's really important. There's it's okay to peak. A sister named S Pearl made that.
Ah,
S Pearl Sharp. It's okay to peak, and it really shows you how to do it. And then after we did the video, we had women. We had speculums. Women had their own speculum, flashlight,
yep, yep,
jelly, and they were able to see their spec. And they were like, "Oh my god!" And of course, when
yep.
you look in there, it looks like the universe.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it's that's why someone said, if you want to know where heaven is, it's between the legs of black women. But it's just going when you go in there, you can see the whole universe, like the way it's set up. It's just
Yep,
unbelievable, and it makes you
yep.
feel empowered to be able to know. So for me, I have a slight cast, to my cervix, right? So I go to the
Mm-hmm.
doctor, and as soon as you get pregnant, your cervix turns blue. So I go to the doctor, and he says to
Mm-hmm.
me, "You're pregnant." And I said, "No, I'm not." He goes, "No, you're
Right,
pregnant."
right.
I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "If you're talking about the fact that I have a bluish cast to my cervix, that's natural for me." And he said, "What?"
Yeah.
And I said, he said, "Your cervix, I said, "Yeah, I know what it looks like. And that's natural. And I'm not pregnant." And so I never went back to him again because he was just like, "What? Wait a minute. How'd she know that?" Or whatever. But
Right.
I think it's important
Yeah.
because right then he would have told me I was pregnant. I would have been like, "Ah," when I really wasn't. I just have a natural
Mm-hmm.
bluish cast to it. So I think it's important for women to know these things, and I think it's great that you have that whole Yoni Steam and talk to women about it. So a couple of women are saying that when they're smelling something. So I know the smell can be from different things because when I drink a lot of green tea, I know my urine will
Yep.
have a smell to it, and I also know if I take certain herbs. But it's about,
Yep.
like you're saying, being connected to your body and understanding when things are
Exactly.
happening. You can be going and say, "Oh, what's happening? What's this? And what's going on?" So I think that's
Exactly.
great. You're doing it. And maybe that's something you and I, when you get your retreat up, we can go back and do so. I can teach women how to do self-exam. We can do the Yoni Steam. That would be
Yes.
so much fun. But stay tuned, y'all. It would Mo, and we can do that. So Mo, now
Yes.
also I know what the colonics do help. I know sometimes with your cycle, things seem to be backed up or whatever. Colonics can help to
Yep.
move things. Talk a little bit about colonics, because some people say that, like, "Oh, I'm kind of afraid," or "I'm not really
Uh-huh.
sure." And you talk a little
Uh-huh.
bit about, well, first talk about why some women would have the smell, and then we can go into
Uh-huh.
the colonic.
Okay. So anytime that we have a body odor, doesn't matter if it's coming from your hair, from your mouth, from your body, from your vaginal area to the waste excrement that we have, anytime that we have an odor, we have to remember it is a direct result from what you've been putting in your body or on your body. So we have 5 channels of elimination. Women have 5, men have 4. The 4 that we both have, men and women, are our colon, our kidneys, our lungs, and our skin. And then the 5th for women is our uterus. So these are our elimination channels. This is how waste moves out of our bodies. Most people don't sweat, right? When people sweat, it's generally a way to cool the body down. But what I mean by sweating is actually, it's like sitting in a sauna or sitting in a detox bath. So almost always 4 out of 5 people, their lymphatic system is going to be congested. Their skin is going to be congested. So that's one organ shut down, or one eliminative organ shut down. The colon, they're probably not having a lot of bowel movements, but they're eating every day, all day long, and only matching their food intake with one bowel movement. Not a good thing. So that's 2 eliminative organs that are shut down. The kidneys, most people don't consume water. Most people consume everything else but water, on top of drinking caffeine and um, alcoholic beverages. So that's
Yep.
3 eliminative organs shut down. So you see where I'm going with it?
Yep.
You know?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So when we get to our uterus for women, all of the other organs are so shot, they only have one portal to dump all the waste through, which might be open because she might be on birth control, and that's controlling how much and when the body will open, which is not a
Mm-hmm.
good thing at all. It just needs
Mm-hmm.
to be open so that the body can let go, right?
Right.
Um, so you need to look at that. What are you eating? So sometimes asparagus can make your urine very cloudy or
Yeah.
funky.
Mm-hmm.
Herbs can do that as well. Also, too, something that women don't think about is their partner's health and
Yep.
hygiene and
Yep.
their diet. So
Yep.
if I'm eating a plant-based diet and I'm sitting in the sauna and I'm giving myself Yoni Steams, and I've been doing that for like 9 months straight, right? And then I get with a man who smokes, who drinks alcohol, who eats pork and doesn't take baths, and we become intimate, that's automatically going to create a imbalance in an odor, because
Yep.
your body is doing one thing, his body is doing something else. They don't align, they keep missing each other, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when he ejaculates, if he does without a condom, whatever he's been putting in his mouth is now sitting in your vagina, which
Yep.
is a sponge.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same consistency as the inside of our cheek. That's the same consistency as our vaginal walls. So the body is absorbing all of that waste, because it is waste, because he's not eating healthy.
Yep.
And he's dumping it into a beautiful alkaline environment, and your body starts absorbing it, and it's like, wait a minute, ew, what is this? And it starts pushing it back out. So what
Exactly.
you smell is actually him, not you.
Right. Right.
And then
So
you
I think
also have
sometimes
to think,
we're going to talk about that at your retreat too, about the sacredness of sex, because I don't think people
oh,
understand the sacredness of sex and all the nuances that are involved in it. So
oh
yeah.
yes, yeah. And then also too, condoms have a smell as well.
Yep.
So it could be the condom.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I think that
So
kind
we
of
can
answers.
look
So
at that.
let's
Yeah,
talk a little bit about colonics now. So
awesome.
yeah.
So what is colon hydrotherapy? In its
Mm-hmm.
basic, simplest forms, colon hydrotherapy is a beautiful way of flowing warm water through your colon, through your backside, to soften up any adhesions, congestions, constipation, or to normalize diarrhea out. It liquefies toxins and moves it out of the body effortlessly, how it normally would. So, not only does colon hydrotherapy help you to balance and normalize your organs out, including your
Right.
colon and everything else, and your bloodstream, but it
Right.
also hydrates you from the inside out. So, if you're a client that comes in and you're dehydrated, when you walk out, you're going to feel totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the beautiful thing about colon hydrotherapy, is that it not only readjusts and recalibrates all of your organs, including the colon, but it also hydrates you, which
Right.
most people need to be hydrated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And how long does it take when one comes for a colonic? How long does it usually take?
So a colon hydrotherapy session, very general, very basic, is about 45 minutes on the table. And then you're given about 15 minutes to afterwards to empty your bladder, use the restroom, get dressed, all that good stuff. And then when you're done,
Mm-hmm.
I meet you back in the front and we go over everything that I saw during your colon hydrotherapy session, and then answer any
Mm-hmm.
questions that you may have in regards to your self-care, how you should be eating, any recommendations for herbs, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Oh God, senior moment. I was going to ask you something, and then it's so like, I don't know what happened. It went, just went like out of my.
No worries, you're fine.
Woo, that's why I have to have my little notes here. Okay. Oh, so how often does one need to take one? I mean, is there a series, like a series of every 3 weeks, or 3 in a week, or?
So it depends on what the client's goal is. So for myself, I give myself a colonic session every Sunday. I've been doing that for probably about 8 years religiously.
Oh,
I've
okay.
been a little lazy since we've been on COVID, because I'm not technically at my office anymore. So
Okay.
I just been
Okay.
kind of doing a lot of self-care at home. But it depends on the person. What is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to
Right.
auto-correct?
Right.
In general, one colonic a month for a person is fine,
Right.
but it depends. Like I have an elder who is, believe it or not, I believe she's 92, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
She's very hunched over, so she has the hump on
Okay.
her back. She's
Right.
already a naturally short woman, so when her back is caved like this, her
Right.
organs are compressed, meaning that her colon
Oh.
is not moving and firing the way it should.
You
So
made me
she
see
has
straight right then and there. I was like, oh shoot, wait a minute. Yeah,
right, right.
that's
So
important.
she has 2 standing appointments with me every week, and
Okay.
I work with her for 2 hours. But she's an
Oh,
elder. Her
okay.
body is not moving the way it should be.
Right.
She doesn't drink the water that she should, of
Yes.
fear of having a full bladder. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I have another client who is, I think he's 40, 40, 40. I think he's 40.
Mm-hmm.
He is recovering from a stroke. So the
Oh,
way that I work on him is very different from how I work on my elder who is in her 90s. Then I have
okay.
another client who is my age. I'm 43. She's healthy as a lark. I see her once every 2, 3 months. So it just
Okay.
depends. It just
Depends on
depends on
what's
what's
going
going
on.
on with you. Mhm.
Yeah. Somebody asked about women on women having sex, but it's still the same thing in terms of when we were talking about the yoni and what have you. It doesn't matter where it's same
Yeah,
sex or not. It's still the same. I think
yeah, same.
it's the
Yep.
same. Someone said, what do you think about coffee enemas?
I think coffee enemas are fabulous. Not everybody needs a coffee enema. Not everybody needs to be stimulated in that way. I find that most people actually need to do the opposite and drink like valerian root versus coffee. So most
Oh,
people have adrenal fatigue. So if you are somebody who is have a very busy life, you
okay,
know,
Mo,
like,
you just put. I
mhm,
mean, Modi, you see, Ro just put up your
yep,
colon, so we can talk about that too. Okay.
perfect, perfect. Now
Mhm.
leave that up there. I'm going to come to it. If
Okay.
you're somebody that has a very busy lifestyle and people are constantly pulling from you and you drink caffeine and alcohol a lot, you do not need a coffee enema. You need the complete
Okay.
opposite. You need something that's very calming and soothing, like chamomile, valerian root, things like that. And I
Okay.
wouldn't do it through rectal. I would do it through oral.
Okay. Just take
Um,
some valerian root.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
enemas in general, and this is a rule of thumb that most people don't understand. Enemas do not cleanse the entire length of the colon. It's impossible because of the way the body is made. If you
Mhm.
look at the picture you see on your screen, you'll see the anus
Right.
and the rectum.
Okay.
A colonic will only cleanse the entire length of the rectum because there are 3 sphincter muscles in the rectum. A
Okay.
colonic will, enema will only cleanse the rectum. Now, a colonic will bypass all of those muscles, which are 3 muscles in the rectum. It will
Can you tell
bypass
which ones
that.
they are? Which one more they are? So when you take an enema, it only goes up to what the descending colon, or go? How far does it go?
No, it doesn't even go that far. So if you look at the chart,
Okay.
you'll see at the bottom it says anus, and then
Right.
you see it says rectum.
Right.
That's as far as the enema will go. But
Oh
here's the
wow.
thing. Here's
Hmm.
the thing. This picture is missing the venous supply.
Hmm.
So the rectum and the anus is chopped filled with veins,
Right.
right? Veins and blood vessels.
Hmm.
So when you insert a chemical, which coffee is a chemical, the blood is what takes it to the other organs and starts to stimulate,
Okay.
not the physical flow of the movement of the liquid. The
Okay.
liquid only stays in the rectum, but as you're holding the liquid in the rectum, the veins absorb the fluid and start shifting it through the organs, thus creating a flood in your colon because all
Okay.
of your organs dump into your colon.
Okay. Okay. I see
Does that
now.
make
Wow.
sense?
Hmm. It
Mhm.
does. But I thought the enema did a little more than that. But geez, it didn't do. Yeah. Okay. I get it. I get
Mm-mm.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now a colonic can flow the entire length of the colon
Hmm.
all the way around to the cecum, right where
Wow.
you see the appendix is. It'll flow
Hmm.
all the way down to there
Wow.
within reason and over
Mm.
time. It doesn't happen within a 1 to 2 or 3 sessions. That's why we
Yeah.
have multiple sessions over a period of time because
Mhm.
you shouldn't be able to flush the colon in one session. You'll
Right.
die with all
Right.
the waste that's coming out. You'll hit the floor.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So, Ro, can you put up the next one so we can see the next slide she has since we're on the colon? When you get a
Yep.
chance, put the next slide. Um, that was really good. That was really good. So you said you do yours once a week. Okay.
I give myself sessions once a week, normally every Sunday, and I just take my time. I'm on a table for probably about 2 hours. And so
Oh,
the water is not turned all the way up like you're washing dishes. It's a
right.
very slow trickle. It's very, very slow and very, very deliberate. So for
Oh.
maybe like 30 minutes, I don't feel anything because my body is just saturated, being saturated with water.
Okay. So now she's got the next one up.
Yes. So this is a picture that explains our food transit time from mouth to anus. And
Okay.
so this picture gives you a little bit of insight on how we should be eating and how often we should be having a bowel movement. So every time you have food in your mouth, solid food, you should be having a bowel movement shortly after. So I'll give you an example. And keep in mind that I cleanse all the time. I've been doing this for a long time, right?
Right.
So I took my mom to Costco 3 days ago. And she's just in there shopping and she's getting whatever she want, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so I said, well, let's get some cherries. And the cherries were
Right.
beautiful, beautiful color. They smelled amazing.
Right.
So we got
Right.
two big boxes, one for her and one for my house, right?
Right.
So I called her this morning and I said, hey, mama, how'd the cherries go?
Right. Right.
She said they moved through her within less than an hour. And I'm like,
Right.
really? Because
Right.
my cherries moved through me through like 20 minutes. It was crazy
Wow.
insane. But that's how
Right.
food should move through you. It shouldn't stay in you. It should move.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. All right.
Yep.
Um, I'm just writing to reply to someone. Okay. So how fast should things go through your body? It just depends on the person.
It depends on the person. It depends on if you've had any surgeries. It depends on if you're pregnant. It
Okay.
depends on if you're constipated. It depends on if you're taking medication. It depends on what you're eating. So foods that are
Okay.
soft in nature, like fruit, watermelon,
Right.
cantaloupe, things like that, that should
Right.
move through your system very quick within like an hour.
Right.
It
Right.
should. Now, when you start eating things like steak and potatoes and rice,
Right.
that's going to take 8 hours plus
Okay.
because most people don't chew, they swallow. So now you
Mm,
have whole pieces of meat floating down your digestive system, whole pieces
right.
of rice, potato,
Mhm.
and it just makes a very sticky, sticky mess. So that's going
Right.
to take longer to move through your system than fruit will.
Right. And especially when you're talking about you're eating all this meat and then you put salad on top of it, then the meat is kind of sitting there and the salad is ready to um, digest, and then you got that meat and it all starts clogging up and oh geez.
Yep,
Yeah,
it's
so
a
that's
nice little plug.
right. And I just want to tell everybody that when you're in the chat room or whatever, please use the correct terms. We're using the terms of vagina and anus or whatever. So that other slang term, I don't, please use the correct terms
Right,
because we also want our children to know what the correct terms are too, instead of the
right.
buttercup and all that kind of stuff, because people get confused and that's how different things happen. So that's just okay. So I think we have one more slide to use, one more
Hmm.
slide that Mo has. So Ro will bring that slide up, and then
Yeah.
we'll talk about that because we're getting toward the end. I mean,
Our,
there's some great things. I want you to also, Mo, to talk about if women are at home, what can they do at home? Let's say that they're not able to get to you. Is there anything they can do in terms of their vaginal health that they can do?
for vaginal health,
Mhm.
definitely. So one thing that I always like to share with women is that you have complete control over how your menstrual cycle shows up in your life. Even if you don't have a uterus, even if you don't have a menstrual cycle anymore, your menstrual cycle is still secreting hormones that keep your whole entire body in check. So I'm going to break down a whole month. So in a month, we have 4 weeks, right? Normally, when a woman who is still of childbearing age, she still has a menstrual cycle, she still has a menses, she normally will bleed between 3 to 7 days. So that's 1 week that's off the chart. So you have 3 weeks left to feed your body everything you need to have a beautiful, lovely menstrual cycle. So whatever you were doing the 3 weeks before your menstrual cycle came down is going to show up when you have your menstrual cycle. So if you're eating cheese, you're eating pork, you're doing bacon, you're drinking, you're smoking, when your menstrual cycle comes down, it's going to be hell to pay. Now, if you want to shift that around, after your menstrual cycle is over, eat foods that are the color of the rainbow, drink a lot of green juice, eliminate caffeine, eliminate alcohol, eliminate any other addictions that may not be so healthy for you. Take a lot of baths, talk nice to yourself. And then when your menstrual cycle comes down, it's going to be totally different. Totally different. So you have complete control over what you put in your mouth and on your body. I also recommend that women start to move away from tampons and move closer to, I don't want to say free bleeding because that's a whole nother topic on its own, but using pads that are more natural and change them often. You'll also notice a huge difference with that as well.
Right. I had the pad one time I went right toward the end. I had the pads that you could actually wash, and they were made of flannel and whatever, and they just felt so much better. But you have to be conscious and be mindful, and you have to be prepared for that to do that. But I have a sister that just reached out to me, and that's what she produces those for when women have their cycle. Sometimes they're going to reach out to her and have her come on to talk about it. But I see the benefit of cleansing is up here. So you want to talk about the benefit of cleansing?
Definitely. So anytime that we cleanse, it doesn't matter if you're getting a colonic, if you're doing a Yoni Steam, if you're taking herbs, or if you're simply just shifting your diet around more to a plant-based diet, that is a form of cleansing. And these are the benefits that you can start to reap the benefits of once you start on that path. So you eliminate toxins from the body. I cannot tell you how long I have not been using deodorant. I didn't forget how many years it's been. Wow. I don't use deodorant at all. And when I tell my clients that, they freak out because my arm is over them. So my underarm is not too far from them. They actually, they say the opposite. Like, it always smells so good in here. Like, what do you burn?
Right.
You know, so there's no body odor. And even on my menstrual cycle, there's minimal smell. And the only thing that you smell, of course, blood has a smell to it if it's clean. Blood also has a smell to it if it's dirty. It's a very, very mild smell, but it's being eliminated from my body, so it should smell. It's rare that I have any cravings for sugar. If I do, I'll drink some watermelon juice. I'll do some sunflower seeds and like coconut oil with a little bit of sea salt on top. That'll cover that. Like, it's fabulous. So you stop consuming or craving the sugar food, the crunchy food, the fried food, because once you start eating a plant-based diet and you start drinking more water, your palate changes. So when your palate on your tongue changes, your cravings change. So that's just a natural benefit of it. Learning to listen to your body a whole lot more. Oh my God, I can't tell you the benefits of that. Now people are like, you know what? When I lay down, I couldn't lay on my back, but now like I can lay on my back. There's no pain. There's no congestion. Exactly. You're listening to your body.
So someone was just asking about an IUD, but she was asking our opinion, but I don't know what she's asking about in terms of an IUD. So she needs to be more specific in terms of what she's talking about. And she's talking about birth control. I'm not really sure. And then someone else said, is there, other than colonics, is there any other way that one can clean their colon if they didn't want to do a colonic?
Well, here's the thing with that. So when you take food or herbs internally, it's only going to stop at your small intestines. The colonic cleanses the large intestines, which is right after that.
Okay.
So yes, you can, but once that food and the herbs and the waste move into the colon, if your colon is sticky, if it's filled with waste, it's going to get stuck. It's going to create another problem.
Right.
So, doing a colonic once every blue moon is going to be more beneficial to you than not doing it at all.
Right.
Every blue moon, we do need to get our engines and our cars steam cleaned. Our bodies are no different. We do the exact same thing with our teeth. Our bodies are no different. We should.
Right. Someone was also asking about your opinion on vaginal cups.
I personally have never used a cup. I've
either.
heard women say pros and cons about it. I think it depends on what you do for a living. Will greatly, like if you're out in the field and you're a social worker and you're out in the field, a cup probably would not work for you. If you're teaching yoga and you're in downward dog all the time, a cup probably wouldn't work for you. But if you are homeschooling your children and you are more relaxed, then maybe, yes. If you have a really, really heavy menstrual cycle, I heard that it doesn't work for women who have a lot of waste coming down the pipeline. I've never used them. I'm actually very comfortable with what I just use pads that are natural, and I have no issues with that. And my cycle is relatively light. I don't have any issues there, so I'm comfortable with what I'm using. But I say go and experiment, definitely. See what's out there, what works for you.
Yeah, that's what I back in the day had an IUD, but when I had an IUD, it was self-aborting. So my body was like, it kept rejecting it. Well, now it just happened one time and I was like, I'm not going to do it again. But my body rejected, and the doctor was like, your body's just like, it ain't happening. So I never did it, never used it again. So for me, that didn't work.
Most women bodies abort that type of birth control, but because they're not connected to their body, they don't associate it with my body wants it out. They just go, oh, it must be in wrong. Let me go get it fixed.
Right. I was like, no.
Your body doesn't want it. That's why it's pushing it out.
Right, exactly. So I think you have to, definitely have to be connected with your body. I think sometimes you just go into a meditation, and I start with my feet, go all the way up, to my head, and just kind of connect and see where there's any gaps or there's any pain or anything that feels out of alignment, because I'm really trying to now to really work with this body balancing and just really balancing my body. And I can tell when it's been out of order. And the other day something happened that kind of put me through a crisis. And I said, okay, Shquestra, your body's telling you, okay, you know what? I'm messing around. Let me show you a little something. So I immediately said, okay, I know what to do. And then went back on really being conscious of what I'm putting in my mouth, because that's where it is. That's where the real issue is. And so now I can tell immediately my blood pressure just went just dropped like 50 points just for me being conscious of what I'm doing. So someone says, okay, do you know of any ways to address fibroid issues that plague our community as opposed to a hysterectomy?
Of course I do, sis.
Let me just say
Yoni
Steam, every woman that I know that has fibroids, I always ask them, do you eat cheese? And they go, oh my God, I love cheese. So that's my thing on the whole dairy thing. But you go ahead and tell your Yoni.
No, definitely. I was just piggybacking on what you said. It boils down to what you're putting in your mouth, and it boils down to how are you caring for your most precious womb space. Do you Yoni steam? Yoni steaming, anything that we need to clean that's very precious, we steam it. And the dirt falls off. Your uterus is no different. You sit on that Yoni steam and you get aggressive with it, and you take your herbs to strengthen your uterus, to strengthen your blood supply, and then you change the energy that you're putting in your mouth. That's how.
So does the detox bath help with that?
The detox bath helps with that, but if you're still eating KFC, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
got to change your diet. You definitely have to change your diet. But the detox, let's say I can't get to you for a Yoni Steam. Can I do a detox bath? Will that help? Or is that something I can do at home that I can?
Well, you can do the detox bath, and you can also do a makeshift Yoni Steam seat at home, which
Oh, tell
I
me about that.
personally, yeah, I don't recommend it because
Okay.
I have had women tell me that, I burned myself, or the
I
cup
know. Yep.
or the
Yep.
container fell and it's hot water, and sometimes we try to cut corners with our health, which I don't recommend. If you
Yep.
have a situation you need to control, you need to pay money to get it fixed, or you're
Yeah.
going to be getting a hysterectomy.
Yep.
There are plenty of videos out there that will show you how to do a Yoni Steam at home. I don't promote that. I
Yeah.
promote purchase a Yoni Steam seat from whoever you want to purchase from, or make
Okay.
one yourself. There are some out there that are
Oh,
very handy with wood.
okay.
I did all of my herbs from Yoni, from steamychick.com.
Oh, yeah.
She's
Heard of them.
fabulous. Yeah, she's
Mm-hmm.
a good friend of mine. We talk like every other couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one that actually introduced it to me years ago, and then we reconnected, and I just absolutely adore her. So I purchased all my herbs from her.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
she does have a community on her website where you can look to see if there's any practitioners in your area on her website. If you need supplies, she'll tell you what's local to you, or you can buy it from her. Or if you
Okay.
need to purchase a Yoni Steam seat, she has a list of suppliers that you can choose from.
Oh,
Hmm.
wow. Oh, wow. So we're getting toward the end, Mo. We've had a great time, and people are, if you all had any last minute questions, you better get them in now because we're getting ready toward the end to get ready to close out. Mo, I really enjoyed having you on. Oh, somebody says, oh, yeah, somebody recovered. Yeah. I meant fibroids. Yeah, we knew you were talking about fibroids.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Recovered cheese addict, now completely animal product free. Yeah, that animal.
Yes.
Yeah, that really
Yes.
really does. It really does help, and it
Keep
keeps
it
you
to a minimum.
mucus. Yep, that mucus for sure. And so, and
Mhm.
and it's a process. So don't think, oh, cold turkey. It's a process. Don't be hard on yourself. Just take it one day at a time, and then one day you may step back. It's okay. The next day you go back again. Because it's definitely a work in progress. I'm always work in progress, reinventing myself.
Right.
So it's just part of it. But I think sometimes women are so hard on themselves, and it's not necessary to really to be that because we have a lot of other things that are going on at the
That
same
part.
time. So stress is very, very important too. So just
Yep.
really put your stress, either get an herbalist and you can talk to Mo. And Mo, so give us your website.
Yes. So my website is Moya, Moya, bodycare.com. You can also find me on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram under the same business name, Moya Body Care. I try to post videos at least once a week. I'm honestly going to say this week I've just taken a sabbatical, and I was like, I'm not doing nothing, but I'm getting back on it this week.
You
I
always
post
do
a
two or
lot of
three.
information.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you post
I
two or
try to post a
three.
lot of information about health and wellness, digestive health and wellness, Yoni Steam, and things like that. So the information is there, it's available,
Right.
and yeah, yeah.
People can call you for, can reach you for consultations, and you can do that. So
Yes.
you're not in your office now because you guys are shut down again, right?
Yeah. So we're
Okay.
not offering in-person one-on-one services, but I can work with you virtually in a couple of different ways. So
Mhm.
if you were looking for a consultation with me in regards to your womb health care or your digestive health care, you can definitely give me a call at 562-682-0818. I will
One
send
more
you a
time.
link.
Say one more time.
562-682-0818. And that information is also on my website. It's all over Facebook, Instagram, YouTube as well. And I will send you a link to schedule your appointment. Once you look at your calendar, you send it to me, and then we're good to go. You can do a 60-minute consultation with me or a 90-minute consultation. All of our consultations are recorded, and then I'll send you my findings and my recommendations via email. And then if you want to do a follow up, we can definitely do a follow up. I have 2 online courses that you can take that are self-paced. One is
Oh,
called Womb Alchemy, and the other is called Digestive Alchemy. And they're both 21-day programs that will walk you through how to care for yourself inside and out, depending if you want to
hmm.
heal your womb space or if you want to heal your digestive health. And
Oh,
those are
wow.
all in Course Craft, and they're listed on my website. And then I just released 2 ebooks yesterday. One is on our lung and respiratory cleanse. So learning
Oh,
how to keep your lungs and respiratory clean and clear. And then the other one is a wellness journal where I am using guided meditation prompts for you to journal every day. You just answer the questions every day, and that journal is for 31 days. So you can
oh,
just keep redoing that journal every 31 days or just do it for
mhm.
1 month and then reflect back. It's up to you how you want to do it. And that is also on my website and on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, okay. Wow. I'm on the long issue here. You got a couple of things I got to get on and take care of. Sign up for sure. So, you have any parting words for us, Miss Mo?
Um, your health is your responsibility. Honestly,
Mm,
you have the amazing gift of being well. It's a choice. You can choose to be healthy, you can choose to not be healthy, but it's always a choice. Um,
mm,
be forever forgiving to yourself. We're all trying to do our best and just stay in your lane and stay focused on what you need, not what you think somebody else said you need. You
right.
know what you need better than anybody else on the planet. Stick with
Right.
that.
Yep.
Hmm.
So I've been doing quotes from my brother. So quote from my brother this week is because he was about get your basketball shorts and some t-shirts because we're not going out, ain't nothing happening for a while. Just get, so everybody was calling me up like basketball shorts.
Right.
Oh yeah, I got basketball shorts. They're so cool. So this week he's like, get ready for the sweats, because
Yes.
he said, and get you some inexpensive sweats, he said, and then just kick it at home because it sounds like this COVID thing is just going around and around and around. We really want to keep safe. And I'm saying those that live in the Northeast, the north part of the United States, get to start working on your mask for the wintertime. You're going to have some
Yeah.
flannel or some wool or some
Yeah.
heavy cotton, because I
Yep.
don't see them going away. And the children are talking about going back to school. And, the kiddies come back with their little disease carrying little stuff and they
Yeah.
spread everybody.
Yeah.
So this is really getting to be kind of crazy, but I'm just preparing myself for it. I do a lot of meditating at
Hmm.
home, looking at some
Hmm.
great, things on television and
Yep.
just kind of, what's the word I want to use? Just kind of educating myself spiritually. And so I'm
Yep.
enjoying it. But Mo, you got some good stuff. I'm definitely going to get with you and do that. So I just want to thank everybody. Next week, we're going to be talking about the Divine Mother. We have a sister that's going to come in here and she's going to talk about the Divine Mother that's within
Yeah.
us and how we can
Yeah.
um, bring out this Divine Mother, and also talking about some of the healing circles or healing online healing Zoom things that we have going on. And so
Yeah.
looking for some more sisters that are interested in that to join us as well. So next week we'll be on doing that. So I really appreciate you, Mo. And man, I tell people all the time, we're sisters. We don't see each other all the time, but when we do come together, it's always fun. And that's what you call a real sister.
Absolutely.
When you don't see them for a while, but when something comes up, everybody's there and do
Yeah.
what they do. We've always been
Yeah.
like that, and your son and our families. So we really
Yeah.
do. I appreciate you being here and coming back. Definitely gonna have you come back again so we can do a whole thing just on vaginal health because I think we need to
Yeah.
talk about that.
Let's do
Health
it.
and wellness. Sure. Okay,
Let's
let's
do
do it.
it.
So thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week. Next week we'll be back at noon. They had these changes today, but we'll be back at noon next week. So peace, everybody.